Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. It is getting to the creepy Halloween season, and I think we're going to do some horror movies. Initially, it was going to be horror movies that Adam Winters was not allowed to watch as a child, but I think we've moved on from that premise, and we're going to start with The Fly from 1958.
It's a real classic. Tell you what, kids ought to be encouraged to watch this type of stuff.
This was a good movie. I can't recall what I thought of the sequels. I intend to watch them again. Perhaps we'll watch them again. We'll see. But this is a good movie. A very weird movie in the sense that it was shot in color in 1958, but its two sequels were in black and white.
CinemaScope, that really, really wide format that only certain screens would be able to display. But I don't think the sequels followed that either. Something to do with 20th Century Fox and one of their subsidiary studios or something. Somebody who produced and distributed some differences.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why on that. This was a very successful movie, one of the biggest movies of the year for Fox. The budget was disputed, but between $325 and $495,000. The box office is disputed, somewhere between 3 or 4 million. I also found a note for 1.7 million. So I'm not really sure, but it made money. It made good money. So what do you do when you make good money? You make a sequel in black and white.
You do bring back Vincent Price, but I'll admit it is a very curious decision. And it was the next year, wasn't it? The Return. Is it Return or Revenge of the Fly?
Well, it's Return of the Fly in 59, Curse of the Fly in 65. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think Curse of the Fly has a fly, so it probably didn't do well.
Oh, wait, it's more of a psychological thriller, isn't it?
I watched it a few years ago, and I just don't remember.
I think I've watched it once.
Okay. Even Vincent Price said that if you're going to make black and white movies, make two of them. Don't make a color movie and then make a black and white movie.
I will confess the fly head in the sequel pales horribly in comparison to the fly head in this movie, which is amazing.
Yeah, though it does not appear that the people in the movie thought very highly of the fly head in this movie, which I think for 1958 looks great.
Is it just something about the lighting that if you were there, it was not impressive, but in post-production with Technicolor, they made it special?
Let's see here. I think David Hedison played the fly. I mean, you got to put this in perspective. I guess it was 20 pounds, and he quoted, "Trying to act in it was like trying to play the piano with boxing gloves on."
He does act in it, though. Oh, it's very impressive.
Oh, yeah. Apparently there was something in his mouth that allowed him to wiggle the little things on his face around.
I never even thought about how awkward that would have been, because I'm so used to animatronic heads. I just assume what I'm watching is an animatronic. But that technology would not have existed, would it, in 58? No remote control?
Probably not.
Yeah, no remote. Huh.
I don't think so. I could stand to be corrected. I would imagine it would have been very expensive. I think you may have needed a wire. I don't know if you could have done anything.
Right.
When did remote-controlled cars that didn't have a wire exist?
Well, we had them in the 80s, obviously. So, did we have any of that in the 70s? We didn't have it, but did the world have any of that in the 1970s? Remote control?
I will say, you could have gotten away with a wire because you could have run it through the suit. I do wonder how heavy it would have been, or I wonder how heavy it would have been if you had gone that route. At the end of the day, if you can wiggle your tongue and make all the little tentacles move, that's easier and cheaper.
Yeah, there's very few full body shots of Andre the Fly. Everybody's so French in this movie, even though I guess they're Canadian.
So it's an American movie based off a short story in Playboy by George Langeland.
Is that where it really was a Playboy story?
Yeah, and it was based in France in the short story, and they said it was in Montreal, Quebec in the movie that the Americans made. So, yeah, I have no idea why. Why couldn't this be in LA? Why couldn't this be in Columbus, Ohio? Why couldn't this be in Nashville, Tennessee?
It's more fun when everybody has a French name somehow.
I suppose so. And it stayed pretty close to the source material. I looked it up. I didn't read it.
You pulled out your Playboy collection or what?
Oh, yeah, pulled it out of the closet there. No, I looked up the short story to see if I could figure out what the plot was. And everything's pretty much on point with just a couple of exceptions. So in the movie, he loses the cat. Cat is just, great tragedy.
What's the cat's name?
Heathcliff? I don't know.
No, we keep making that up for Heathcliff. but he had a name
I
because
I didn't take notes on this one,
okay,
just because I wanted to really enjoy the movie, and
got to
it's
remember the
not
little
listed
cat.
in the Wikipedia notes. It just says the family's pet
Meow,
cat. I want to say it was started with
meow.
an O,
Oh, oh.
like Oliver, or I don't know. But anyways, in the movie, the cat's lost to space. He tries to transport it through the disintegrator integrator, and he kind of f's that up. So he loses the family cat. But then later in the movie, in a last ditch effort to see if something works, he humors his wife and runs himself through the transporter machine again, and nothing happens. Well, in the short story, some of the cat gets collected up into him, so he's even more deformed.
Oh, that's
Missed
terrific.
opportunity. Missed opportunity. He could have had a tail coming out of this movie.
Well,
How cool would that have been?
now the movie has a little bit of argument here because up to that point they had not revealed the head. So you at least have to do that dramatically.
No, it's too soon. It's too soon.
Yeah,
But how awesome would it have been to have the Fly Man with a tail?
I want to see that. Yes, I do.
I mean, could have worked it in the sequel.
Yeah, the third movie. They could have brought the cat back. Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe the other major change, just because it's a little bit too much of a downer, was in the short story, the wife commits suicide at the end of the day.
How
And
how's that happen?
I believe when she finds out, she's going to go to jail.
Oh, so we don't get the dramatic solution like this movie has with the
You don't get the solution. This should, if you're listening to this, go look it up and see if I'm right. But if I'm not mistaken, we were supposed to record yesterday and we didn't get to, so it's a little less fresh. I believe that as they saw the human fly and smashed it with the rock, before they could get back and tell her what the new solution was going to be, she commits suicide because she doesn't want to go to jail.
Yeah, that's a downer. I'm happy with a happier
I don't know. This is I don't know about this Francois guy, but or
Francois.
Francis or
Francois.
Francois. There we go. Francois. Is he a baby
Francois.
face or a heel?
He's not a heel, but at the same time,
He don't seem upset about his brother's death.
I agree. He's not. Now, sometimes people process grief differently. Sometimes I just have a hard time crying over stuff. It's not that it doesn't bother me. It's just that maybe, but the obvious thing here is Francois is more concerned about getting Helene out of a murder charge because he wants to jump in the role that his brother vacated than anything else. I think we can agree on that, which does, I don't know. I could see how that rubs a little bit of a wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he committed murder or anything,
Or adultery.
but
He didn't do either one of those, right? So
in his heart,
okay, fine.
who knows? I
Fine.
think it's also a little bit odd that Andre is so fine with Francois, Francis, whatever his name is,
Francois.
being so friendly with his wife.
Well,
But I suppose when you live in your basement for days and days on end, that you just let people do what they do. But I
okay.
don't know. It's an odd little. It works because it's a horror movie.
Are you a little bit surprised that between the two brothers, Andre was the one who got Helene to marry him as opposed to Francois?
Well, they're probably both workaholics.
Okay.
But Francois wears a weird robe, and
And he sits around
maybe
by
it
his
just
phone
turned
at
her off
midnight, doesn't he? He's just kind of
with his tie on and his robe and his dress pants. So
okay. So
you
Helene,
got the Hugh Hefner robe going. So maybe that's why.
considering the origins, okay, but
It could be a nod to that.
Andre seems very much dedicated to life in the basement. And I'm wondering why, because Francois seems to run a very successful, not an exciting business, but a successful business that I guess involves smashing stuff, which,
I assume it's a printing press of some sort, or they
okay.
press metal. It doesn't seem to go in line with what Andre's doing. But going back
Yeah.
to the happy life in the basement, if my son was Philippe, oh my goodness, I need breaks. Maybe not days and days on end, but I need a basement.
Joe, it's a big house and a big yard. That kid can run around as much as he
He's
wants.
got lots of room.
He can catch all the butterflies he wants. I don't. Yeah, Andre's a curious scientist, and I'm not. If I have a flaw with this movie, it has something to do with Andre's motivations and his impatience on testing his series.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think the end of the movie makes a statement, which is pretty true, actually. In the middle, you get a philosophical discussion between the wife and the husband. And she's basically saying, "This stuff, that scares the shit out of me. This is scary." And he says, "Well, it only does that because you're scared of it. But if you really think back to how technology's going, like, shouldn't you be scared already?
Okay, yeah, but
Like, we
disintegration.
watch TV and that seems nuts.
No,
But the principles of TV are not necessarily any crazier than the disintegrator integrator. It's more
you,
about what you're moving."
it's the word disintegrator. That's a red flag right there. Disintegrator.
Yeah, I mean, it mixes things up a little bit. But the idea is, if you're going to take a television analogy, is when you're recording somebody and you send the signal, in a sense, you are disintegrating the picture and then reintegrating the picture.
But not the person in the picture.
Agreed. Or the Heathcliff cat, or the guinea pig.
So why do you okay, back to Andre. He's only tested his machine on inanimate objects. He did a newspaper, he did an antique plate that was a wedding gift, and he had some bugs to work out. Dun dun. So he it was mirror imaged. It was like that all the filters people use on their TikToks and Instagram now where they think it's in vogue to do a reverse filter. Have you noticed that, by the way?
Yeah, I think some of that is when they're trying to pirate movies and they don't want it to be caught.
But they do their little hot takes where they record themselves and it's always on backwards and it's like, oh, that's the style now. You're supposed to do it backwards.
Well, you know what? We all do that in some degree when we look in the mirror and comb our hair. Everyone else sees our hair parted on the opposite side that we see in the mirror.
It's a good point. I do see myself differently than the rest of the world does because of that reason. And I suppose it's true with everybody.
See, when we TikTok backwards, we're showing the world as we see ourselves.
What a crock. I've come to I'm so much more familiar with myself in the mirror than I am in photographs. You can say that too, right? Just we probably are less likely to like a photograph of ourselves because it's so unfamiliar to what we think we look like because of the mirror
Well, if you have
familiarity.
a smart mirror or the people that built your house put up a smart mirror, it's tilted in such a way that you're skinnier. Whereas in the
Oh,
photographs, all the short people get us from our worst angles. What can I say?
well, go figure. So I think on Andre again. So back into Andre Francois, not Francois. Delambre. No, that's the wrong accent. So he's tested inanimate objects, and for his very first biological test, he says, "Ooh, family cat down here in my lab with me." That to me,
Yeah.
that to me is what man. What got into you to you
Now,
know?
I agree. Now, in his defense, he had sent the plate. His wife laughed and said, "Don't send me through,"
Mm,
because the print got flipped. So he sent an entire newspaper, talking 20 pages. He does a insufficient proofread, and it appears
mm.
everything's fine. So he
Oh
feels
yeah,
like he fixed the bug.
spot check. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I agree. Like, why are you doing the cat? You're doing the guinea pig after the cat.
Oh yeah, that's bizarre to me. Did he have the guinea pig around, or did he go out and buy the guinea pig? I forgot that detail.
Well, he had lost his cat. So, unless he wanted to send Philip into it, I think he had few options. Though the housekeeper was pretty annoying in this movie,
Yeah, sure.
could have been an option.
So my natural guess would be if you're going to try an organic life form, try a plant first, right? And see what happens to the plant after you do this. Over time, you monitor the plant.
Yeah, I mean, that's applying logic to a horror movie, though.
I, hey, it's so weird to me. He immediately goes for the family cat, who he seems to be okay with. Now, if he didn't like the cat, there's some dramatic opportunity there, right? But this movie goes with, oh, he loves the cat. What could possibly go wrong? To quote Bubsy, the cat, the bobcat.
What they should have done is send Philip through the machine at some point. So that's how you really set up a sequel, by the way.
No, they do that in
Um,
the sequel. If you want Felipe in the transporter, watch the sequel.
no, but I understand. But I'm saying he should have
Felipe,
gone through in this movie. Philippe.
you
He could
just
have sent himself through when no one was looking.
man, you have it out for that kid, don't you? That's something. Let's see.
You know,
What did he do in this movie that really? What did he do in this movie to upset you?
I think I've just been around too many dumbasses this week. And when I watched this movie, man, that kid ain't bright.
Man, I don't even
He
want to
just
know.
ain't bright.
I don't even want to know where you're going with that.
Anyways, uh, I just found Philip really annoying. He's kind of stupid. His mom's not real bright either.
Maybe that's why she married Andre. They got what they deserved.
Maybe. So, one thing in this movie that you'll never see again is a real fly with a white head.
Oh,
I mean,
do
you
tell.
can't paint a fly's head. There was a real fly flying around. They painted it. One of its legs and its head. I don't think you could get away with that. I don't know if
It's a
it's PETA
fly.
or like an affiliate that would do it.
I'm
You
shocked the
can't
fly stayed
you can't
alive
hurt
that long.
bugs.
How many scenes did the fly have with the white head?
I'm not sure. For what it's worth, there might have been a lot of flies with white heads in real life. I think this was filmed over like 13 days. I would imagine it's hard to capture such a thing. Or
Yeah,
18 days,
okay.
but yeah. I don't think you could do that.
It is impressive to me how many shots they were able to get with a real fly. I just imagine that would be a nightmare to try and shoot.
I don't know. I've never tried it, but you'd have to set things up. Like you have this one scene where it's trying to get through a window that's been cracked, and I would imagine that you could just put the camera on the window, put the fly on the other side with no way out, and just let it record until it finally figures out where to go, and then just use the little clip. But there's lots
Okay.
of things like that. They get a fly to land in sugar, which I
Yeah,
don't know if that's actually hard or not. Never tried.
I'm sure it likes the sugar, but
I mean, they got all the fly tropes in this movie. I don't know if any of the fly tropes are true in real life, but they do quite a bit. So, does this come before or after Star Trek? This would be
oh,
before,
that's
wouldn't it?
before. Star Trek is in 1960s, and I'm forgetting what year is in the 1960s.
So basically, they're ripping off the fly.
Well, the idea of a matter
Or Playboy,
transporter.
depending how
I'm
you look at
curious
it.
about that technology because these probably are the two OG genre starters on what people think of when they think of a transporter machine. So people are more familiar with Star Trek because they made it into an attractive thing, aside from the first movie, where that was horrific. If you ever seen that, Star Trek the motion picture. But and then it's Andre Delambre, Francois, and all that. You have this movie, so I don't know if any other movies, because in the 1950s the horror movie transitioned from sort of superstitious and myths into science fiction, and I like overall. I think I prefer science fiction horror movies over the mythological ones, much as I do like werewolves. Yeah,
I think there's a place for both. But yeah,
yeah, there
it's
is.
so this movie, I doubt very many people have ever seen this movie. I would say a decreasing part of the population has seen the remake from the 80s. And Star Trek kind of gets all the credit for the transporter, but they were not number one.
No, and it's I don't remember if Star Trek ever did an episode or a movie where they wrestled with the ethics of matter transportation, but there's always that question when you transport a biological organism, or to use Andre's phrases, disintegrate and reintegrate. Do you really transfer the molecules from one place to another, unscramble them and rescramble them to reconstitute the same being, or do you somehow delete the original and make a copy, like you would a file on a computer?
No, it's a good question. I think that question has probably ruined the X-Men series and comic books because they did the whole clone thing where they could just reintegrate with past memories that
Oh
all the
yeah,
OGs are gone. And like when you really start thinking about it, you're basically saying none of these are the characters that lived back in the 60s.
yeah.
So
So
no, it's problematic. Yeah, it's a thankfully we haven't figured that out in real life yet. So
I don't. Assuming this technology ever existed in real life, I don't think I'd ever want to use it casually. The only time I could think of would be in a life or death context.
yeah, because if you're the one going in the machine, but you're not really the one coming out, then you ain't coming out.
Or, even if you are, something screws up along the way and you get like you do in the 1979 Star Trek motion picture. Not a pretty picture.
Well, this one wasn't a pretty picture either. So
Yeah, it was worse, I think, in the motion picture somehow, because he does look
yeah,
cool. You got to look. I'm sure it's rough for Andre, but he looked really cool. He at least had that going for it.
yeah. This movie got mixed reviews initially. I think it's aged
Oh,
well in
really?
terms of what people think of it. I mean, it did well, don't get me wrong. But it is the kind of movie where the more you think about it, there's plot holes that pop up. So, for instance,
Some of that may be in the name of pacing, right? Just to move the story along.
I don't know. Not this one. So he goes in, the fly gets in the machine, he comes out the other side,
We don't see it.
and you got a
We don't
fly.
see that, do we?
We don't. Well, we don't see it, but this is what happens allegedly, according to the letter that the fly wrote. And Andre comes out, or the fly comes out with a human. You can either say the fly came out with a human body, or Andre came out with a fly head.
Unclear, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, then Andre comes out with a fly body, or a fly body comes out with a fly head and arm. So either at the beginning, the fly with the human body has Andre's brain and then loses it.
And memories. Yeah, yeah. It's got the.
Yeah, so actually that part's clear. When the big one comes out of the machine, it's got Andre's mind. He just doesn't have the hand to write and the face to look at. The fly with the human head either develops a human head or mind, or has it the whole time because he's help me at the end.
So yeah, the fly with the head can speak, but the man with the fly head cannot speak.
Yeah, so I mean, unless you're gonna say the human head had a fly brain and was just able to verbalize help me.
I'm in more
Unless you're gonna
inclined to
argue
that.
that,
Sure. Yeah,
how did they both have his brain?
unclear.
Yeah, I mean, it's not clear. If it's a fly head, you can't have the human brain in there. So
But I don't find that a plot hole. I find that an interesting question that goes unanswered.
in the modern movie, he transforms into a fly slowly.
Yeah,
He
body
doesn't have
horror.
a full blown
Yeah.
fly head with a human
Right.
brain inside.
Right.
So I do think it's a whole. I would put it above interesting, close if not a plot hole.
All right. You're entitled to your opinion on that.
Well, I mean it's fun. I don't mind it. I'm just saying. I think some of the critiques of this movie is the more you scrutinize it, it's like I don't know about
But
that.
part of the fun of the short story tradition are the things that go unanswered. Just a little window into the life of someone else that sucks you in its brevity. Doesn't answer everything you might want to ask, but leaves an impression on you.
Yeah. Well, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying I think it's there, and I think some people who don't like the movie they look at things like that and they say I don't know about that. That's all.
Okay. If I were to add a subplot, and part of that would be to explain to some degree what I perceive as impatience and carelessness and rashness on the part of Andre, it would be some motivation for why he feels like he has to get this thing solved by a certain date. You know, either he's going to lose funding or the company. Maybe a backstory tension with Andre and Francois might have been interesting. He needs to be on a deadline. Yeah.
But I think the guy is just insane to some degree. I can relate this week.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Some
That's-
people just can't help themselves.
That's a possibility. He's got mania, right? He's maniacal.
Yeah. So Francois tells Philip at the end when he's trying to explain to his nephew that he's adopting with his wife that he doesn't quite have yet because they're going to go to the zoo. And the nephew asks about why his father died. And he says, he was searching for the truth. He almost found a great truth, but for one instant, he was careless. The search for the truth is the most important work in the whole world and the most dangerous. And then the kid says, I want to be a dangerous explorer like my dad. And they say, that's great, son.
So Francois is only thinking about hooking up with Helene at this point. He's not quite thinking
He's like,
through
okay, how quickly can I get this little adventurous kid to turn into a fly so I can just have the mom?
which, as the sequel will go on to prove, their time together, Helene and Francois, it wasn't all sunshines and rainbows. she had the trauma, man. Yeah, it's kind of.
So, I think all the actors in this show or this movie are pretty good. I don't really have any complaints other
You don't hate
than
Philippe?
Philip.
Philippe.
Well, he's playing a role,
Okay.
but he helps explain why Daddy wants to live in the basement.
What about the inspector?
I like him, Inspector. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. The Inspector, Herbert Marshall, as it is.
He feels like he belongs on the Adam West Batman show a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of the detective or the psychologist, excuse me, in Halloween. I forget the guy's
first
name.
one?
He's famous. Yeah,
Okay.
he's just got that. He's got that look and voice.
All right.
But and then Vincent Price, great job. Lots of good horror movies after this. I don't know if this movie works without him.
Do you think they put him in the right role as opposed to him being the scientist who becomes the fly? Do you think he's better as the brother?
Well, I think he would have been good in either role. I don't think the other guy would have made as good of a Francois.
Fair enough. He doesn't have the
I
charisma.
don't think Andre had the gravitas or the charisma to pull off the role.
And for the last third of the movie, he's in costume for the most part.
Yeah, I think Vincent Price feels a lot like not Perry Mason, but the man who played Perry Mason, Raymond Burr in the Godzilla movie.
Yes, I
Like I feel
see.
like it's a similar vibe going in this movie. Different motivations, different personality, all that good stuff. But I think he serves a similar role.
All
I
right.
would like to see Raymond Burr in this movie. But, Vincent could have been Andre if we got Raymond Burr as Francis. Got any other thoughts?
There's always something I guess I wanted to. The trailer. Yeah, did you watch the teaser for this movie? I feel like that is very effective in the way that was done.
So I didn't watch the trailer. I meant to go back and do it. I was watching some special features and I saw some trailers for the second movie that incorporated a lot of stuff from the first movie, I thought, and was kind of generally confused. But I didn't see it. But if it had a similar vibe to the sequel, then that's a good job.
Well, it's just Vincent Price talking to the camera, and he's teasing the audience. He's in character, I think, when he does it. A little. I mean, he says he's Vincent Price, but he says, this will be one of the most horrifying, amazing things you've ever seen. And they don't really tell you what the movie's about. They just said, you've never seen anything like it. You'll never forget it. And they just give you the title of The Fly. And I said, wow, that was gutsy right there to just make the promises. And I think the movie delivers, because when that towel or that blanket gets pulled off Andre's head, the audience feels it right there with the wife. And she screams excellent. There's a reason they put her scream on a lot of the promotional material too, her screaming face.
Yeah. Did people really scream in the theaters back in the day? Everyone always alleges this.
I'm sure they did. Now, this probably would have been very popular with drive-through, or not drive-through, drive-in movies. I'm sure this was the point where a lot of men and their dates, they were hoping the date would grab onto them.
See, that seems manufactured.
Maybe it's so. Maybe so.
I don't know. I always wondered about that, though. Do we get enough fly in this movie?
Yeah, we get enough of it. They tease it well enough with the hand. You get a few minutes of Andre with the fly hand, and Helene screams at that. And you really are waiting for the blanket to come off. And they give you that momentary hope when she wants him to go through the matter transporter, and then she comes and pulls it off. And from that point on, it's like Andre has become 80% fly, and everything else is a dwindling percentage of humanity. That all he wants to do at that point is kill himself. And so he leads Helene to the pressing factory, just sets it up for her to do that, finish the job. And it's interesting because she has to go. I'm not sure why she goes in with him. Maybe I've forgotten the emotion of the scene. But the reason she has to do the press twice is because she has to disguise the evidence of the fly hand. Where the fly hand was not under the press the first time, she has to go back, position it, and do it again. But I forget why she goes in and reaches at Andre. She puts her own hand under the press and reaches at Andre. Maybe I've forgotten why that happens.
Well, she's having remorse over the fact that he's dying and wants him to keep trying to save himself, I believe. I think that was her motivation.
Then try to pull him from behind. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I like the double press. I think that was a really good plot point that they tease at the beginning. Why would you do this twice?
Mm-hmm.
They do it twice for a realistic reason, and then they end up using that as the means for their happy ending. So I like that. Mm-hmm. Nice book ending.
Yeah, it's interesting when Francois and the inspector, they're sitting around, they've just seen the fly about to get eaten by the spider, and the inspector picks up a rock, presumably crushing them both. And Francois says, "You're just as much of a murderer as Helene is." And so they have to...
Hard to argue.
They have to strike up a fake story, and they have to explain all the details in a way that will alleviate everybody of wrongdoing. Now, what did he take responsibility for?
Francis says that he had done the first punch of the machine, and he did not reset the counter. And therefore, when he committed suicide, that's why he was at 2, and that's why the Knightsman, whatever, maintenance guy, that's the reason why he heard 2 uses of the machine.
Gaston. He's
the smushing press.
It's an interesting. It ties up things neatly, right? We can at least say that. Bit of a Dark Knight situation with Harvey Dent, Commissioner Gordon, Batman,
A little bit.
a little
I'm
bit.
At the end of the day, Helene Dion. I'm not sure she actually killed a person, and we've all
Eh?
squished we've all squished flies, so and fries. But
Unclear, isn't it?
so
Yeah.
yeah, it is. And you could say that the inspector was just killing the spider, and it was residual contact. Like, got the
Yeah, it's also
feel like they
fair.
waited an awful long time to try to save him. Like, hello, help me, help me, help me, and they're just staring at him until the
Yeah.
spider
Well,
casually strolls across the web.
they are horrified. It is funny with Felipe because in the one sense, he saves the day regarding his mother, but it's really just accidental. It's not like, I found the fly, I found the fly. It's like, oh, hey, I saw that fly you were looking for. It's over there. It's just sort of casual. I didn't know how.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried to keep him in the
Do,
dark, but it's the least enthusiasm he showed at any other point in the movie regarding anything. The fly in the web
yeah.
about to be eaten by the spider.
Do you think Francis had any intention at all of saving Andre's little spider body?
Well, Francois is not the one that crushed him. And are you saying,
Was he concerned that Helen would reunite?
how?
Well, I mean, I'm saying as in she carried around her little Spider-Man.
Flyman.
It's her husband. I'm sorry, yes. Spider-Man sounds better, but yes, Flyman. Reason why there was not Flyman in the comics.
I don't know. I didn't get that sense. I guess if you want to read into it.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm just speculating.
Look, it's Vincent Price. Because of his reputation and the characters he plays, we're going to assume a weird ulterior motive with any Vincent Price character in a horror movie.
Yeah, I agree. So here, any other thoughts on The Fly?
I think the special effects are so well done. Even the transporter, which I guess would have been... What kind of effect am I trying to say on that? Just sort of the lighting effects. Looks really good.
Yeah, I heard it was all surplus, like military stuff. And I think I read the set cost like $26,000 down the basement set, which had been quite a bit back in the day.
Well,
Good
I was
chunk
just
of the
thinking
budget.
the post processing was how they did the lighting effects. Was that all natural, or did they do something else to the film afterwards?
I don't know.
That's why it's so nice to see it. It's so good to see it in color, because you just wouldn't get any of that in black and white.
Oh yeah, and then when you hear there's going to be a sequel, you're like, wow, what kind of cool color stuff they're going to do in the sequel?
Not a bit. 2 tones.
Nope. It is the equivalent of the Disney made for direct-to-video movies after the big box office hits. So
Shame.
No Robin Williams as your genie.
Well, he came back in the third Aladdin, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Return of Jafar is pretty good. The music is horrible. I don't know why they attempted to do musical numbers when they're not very good. That's my biggest complaint against Disney direct-to-video movies.
But all right, so The Fly. How do we rate this?
We could do disintegrated house cats if we wanted to. Do white-headed flies.
We almost have to do white-headed flies or squishing press buttons. I don't know. I like whitehead flies.
Okay.
It's a real effect. I don't know if they use whiteout or paint or what they use.
Artistic innovation.
Yeah. Or we could do weird robes, but you know.
No, we're not doing Francois robes. No.
I'm gonna give this a solid 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I really enjoy this movie. It's just fun. This is a movie I could watch it once a year and get away with it. It'd be good.
Yeah.
And it's in color in 1958. That's pretty cool.
It is very cool.
Most of the movies from the 50s, if you get a colorized version, it's artificial and it just doesn't look very good. So
no.
This is good.
No. Well, for me, it's a 5 out of 5 fly.
All right.
Now, when I talk about perfect movies, what I'm not trying to say is I don't think stuff couldn't have been added. Some things probably could have been explained a little better. I've talked about my questions about how likable is Andre supposed to be just because of the rashness that he makes. But for what this is, I'm giving it a top tier horror movie, sci-fi horror movie. It is top tier for me. And when you're top tier, that means you get 5 out of 5. And we were talking about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer Rankin Bass last year, I said there are some weird jumps in that movie of logic and characterization and stuff I'm sort of surprised wasn't in the movie to explain a little better. but it's just such a classic status that yeah, you do watch it every year. It's a 5 out of 5 movie, and in that sense, I find Fly 58 a 5 out of 5 Superfly.
Superfly. I
It
respect
is
that.
Superfly.
I'm gonna stick with my 4, but I get what you're selling there. I'm jiving.
It's a
All
tier.
right,
It is top tier for me.
it's good. So that has been The Fly from 1958, a movie that Adam probably could have watched as a child.
Every kid should watch it, I think. Yeah. I don't think it was on TV, and I didn't own it on video. It seems like, you know those books we used to check out from the library about all the movie monsters and Godzilla? I don't think The Fly ever got a whole lot of attention in those kind of books.
No, you had the Godzilla series and you had the Universal monsters. I don't know if anything from Fox ever made the cut.
It feels like it belongs, though. Like a lot of people today would be mistaken into assuming this is a Universal monster movie.
Maybe it feels more like Hammer Films, American version.
It does,
but yeah.
It's an American Hammer. I get that, too.
Set in Montreal.
Oui, oui.
All right. Well, that's been The Fly 1958. We'll see what we do next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Help me.